Hey, what's up, fantasy people? Thank you so much for tuning into the Fantasy Football Show. Today, Jason and I are going to be going over our quarterback rankings, 20 through 11. And if you played fantasy football last season, you know how important the quarterback can be to your team. I'm going to go ahead and show you our rankings right now. So these are our quarterback rankings. My rankings are color-coded in tiers. Jason's are right next to that. And then I averaged the two for the show's rankings. That is going to be the order that we're going to go through today. And hey, man, I even color-coded offensive line on here. Green is the top third, yellow is in the middle, red is in the bottom third. So take a snapshot of this, save it, frame it, sit back, and enjoy the show. Hey, what's up, fantasy people? This is Tyler, Big Turd Ward, and Jason, the lucky bastard Ethan Wolf, coming at you live from the West Coast. And this is the Fantasy Football Show. Today's episode, we're going to start our quarterback rankings. I shared our rankings with you in the beginning. Hopefully you're looking at that right now. Maybe not. But still, we're going to go 20 through 11. That's the bottom 10. And then we're going to go over the top 10, give the big boys their own show. I keep on saying big boys. I don't know what that means, but you know what I mean. Jason, before we get into the episode, would you please tell the public how they can help this show?
Yes. If you guys made it this far, if you could please hit the subscribe, press the like. We like the likes. And if you could text us a comment, let us know if you agree or disagree with these rankings. And if you want some good material on the way to the work, some radio action, we're also on Spotify. Check it out.
Thanks, Jason. Oh, yeah, I forgot to. I need to upload my last video up to Spotify. I totally forgot about that. Anyways, moving forward, Jason, number 20, quarterback rank. And I do want to say that, like, dude, if you were like me last season, so quarterbacks are extra crucial to people in their minds this season. Last year was like, it's all about the late round quarterback strategy. No late round quarterbacks worked out. None of those middle round quarterbacks worked out. I mean, just ask Jason and I got Trey Lance. I was like, oh yeah, dude, don't worry. I got Trey Lance, and I picked up somebody else late. Oh, I mean, it was terrible, dude. I got like 0 points. I got 2 points for my quarterback in the first like 3 weeks. Jason drafted Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. Oh my God, dude. It was like, oh, this is gonna be great. And those didn't work out either. So right now, in people's minds, quarterbacks are so crucial. And on top of that, the top 3 quarterbacks in the league have like really separated themselves to give people like a distinct position advantage. Yeah. So Jason, let's get into this. Number 20, Bakersfield boy. Jason and I are from Bakersfield. We try not to tell anybody. But look at this, man. We're talking right into the microphone right now.
Shh. It's a secret.
Joey Porter. Shout out to Joey Porter.
Yeah.
And Derek Carr, And who are we talking about right now? Who's his brother?
David
Carr. David Carr was awesome. Anyways, Derek Carr, Jason, last time he got traded over to the Saints, and the Saints, they had what's his name, the Red Rifle last season, and I kind of went off like on stats. I was like, dude, there's really no difference between like the Red Rifle and Derek Carr. But then like I was kind of digging deeper into Carr, dude. He threw for the 5th most yards in the league his last year with Gruden. It was like almost 5,000. And then he's averaged 68.5% completion percentage, 2018 through 2021. Then McDaniels came in and just screwed everything up, man. So I'm giving Carr a pass last season, and now he is super motivated. He gets Olave, Thomas. I love Juwan Johnson, dude. Juwan Johnson tight end. If you're waiting on one, oh my God, I was all about him last year. And now he has Kamara with no legal issues, maybe. And he has the number 2 strength of schedule, Jason. So he's got an easy schedule. The big issue here, and you can see it on our list, it is red flagged, 25th ranked offensive line. So how do you feel about Carr? Send in the car.
Dude.
Did I just say everything?
Did I show you my notes?
Man, I was like, Jason, check it out, dude. I actually got some stuff written up. Maybe I should not.
No. That's totally fine. There's one player I wanted to add. It was Foster Monroe. He is a Saint now who he played for the Raiders last year. He was their tight end.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I remember that. Damn it. Now I know why Juwan Johnson, I was like, oh, crap.
So that's just, another chemistry player for, I was going to say the Raiders. For Carr. Carr, he was actually ranked pretty going into the season last year. People were really high on him just because he was getting Devontae Adams, old college buddies back in Fresno State. One more ride. Well, that was very short lived. Devontae Adams had a great year, but in half point PPR, Derek Carr had a very poor year. Like, he only averaged 14.6 points per game, and like, I do not want that in a starting quarterback. You were talking about how the quarterbacks we drafted last year, and I drafted Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, and part of the reason why I dropped their butts is because they were only giving me 14 or 15 points a game. I'm going up against like Hurts and Allen and Burrow, who are scoring 20, 30, and I'm just like, dude, ain't going to cut it. I'm just so he was kind of like an emotional roller coaster last year. He had some good games, bad games, good games, bad games. He was first in air yards last year, though. He was first in air yards with 313 a game, but he was 28th in deep ball completion percentage, which is just horrible. And he had
I get to see him. I remember I get all these Raiders games. He just like throws it so deep to Devontae Adams like every time, and Devontae's like,
yeah, for real. And he had 11 interceptions in 15 games played last year. I think we're giving him more of the benefit of the doubt because also he's on a new squad. He does got players, and like I can see these players, like especially Michael Thomas, right? I think this could be the end for Michael Thomas. He's got to perform. He's got to do what he was getting paid the big bucks. He was once the number one receiver in the league. He's dropped off. I think this is it. So I think, he's got players that want to perform, and once again, they're going to like be running the ball some. So, and the offensive line that you were talking about, they're 16th in pass blocking win rate. So, not too bad, but I like him at number 20.
And the Saints, like historically, man, they've had a good offensive line ever since Sean Payton got there. So it's kind of like in your mind, you think they have a good offensive line. I need to dive deeper into that. I don't know who they lost this season. I think they probably lost somebody, but bottom third in offensive line. Like, I'm trying not to get a quarterback with a terrible offensive line. We'll talk about that later, especially in the top 10. And then Jason, so you and I both had him ranked 20. That's one of our few players we have to rank the same. And next up, I do want to say, okay, so next up is Richardson for me. And AR-15, Anthony Richardson coming out of Florida. He was a Gator. I keep on trying to see. I need to turn the screensaver off. But yeah, so I still have, I should still have Tannehill. I have got Tannehill in the same tier as Carr, and Tannehill is below. He's 22. I just want to mention Tannehill since he's in the same tier as these people, especially since he's got D-Hop.
Yeah.
But Jason, AR-15, he does have, who does he have? The Eagles offensive coordinator, right? Yeah. And he's got an offensive line that was great, like a top 5 offensive line a while ago. Now they're ranked 18th because I don't think the PFF really knows what to do with them. So like I have got him 21. You have him 19. ESPN has him 17. I know people are really high on him, but when I watch the tape, dude, I don't have anything written down right here, but I remember watching tape on him being like, dude, this guy literally cannot move the ball. Like, he just cannot. Against a good defense, man, like he couldn't do anything. And Hendon Hooker was like moving the ball all over everybody. And I was like, dude, just give me Hendon Hooker. So anyways, dude, I am down on Anthony Richardson, but he went to like the ideal situation in the way that he might get like a rushing touchdown a game. So like he's going to be like, his floor might be really high. So you have to kind of rank him that way.
Yeah. And this guy coming in at 6'4", weighing a whopper 232 pounds, drafted number 4. I would definitely get this guy if I had to in the late rounds. You said it best, Tyler. He didn't really move the ball much in LSU passing wise. Not LSU, for Florida.
Tim
Tebow.
Tebow.
Well, because I was going to say the game that you should watch him play against is LSU, where he just ran crazy all over LSU. He had some.
I watched the Alabama game and it just ruined me for him, dude. It just ruined it.
Yeah, the passing wasn't good, but the running was great. Last year he did have 9 rushing touchdowns. They do have the new offensive coordinator from the Eagles who became the Colts head coach, Shane Steichen. And what did we see when he was offensive coordinator for the Eagles? Jalen Hurts had 13 rushing touchdowns in 2022. And the Colts, their offensive line is 32nd in pass block win rate. So I see him dropping back, and I see the defensive lineman coming through, and then Anthony Richardson taking off, running. So I'm thinking a lot of rushing yards and touchdowns out of this guy, but not too much in passing.
All right, Jason. So, I mean, AR-15, you're going to get him hopefully as your second quarterback. Dude, I would be very careful getting him as my number 1. And then you're going to be relying on waiver wire stuff. So anyways, Jason, after that, we're talking about a guy that, dude, I rode to the championship a couple of years ago, Matthew Stafford. And so the only thing I could find on his health was a quote from Sean McVay, and it was from 2 months ago saying, Matthew Stafford's a human jug. He looks like a human jug machine out there. And all the comments were like, yeah, you mean talking like an immobile and can only work one side of the field unless it's adjusted? And it's like, yeah, maybe. But that one side of the field is a Cooper Kupp, dude. And so as long as Cooper Kupp's there, as long as Sean McVay's there, and they're putting there, and I just have the feeling that Sean McVay is going to really start. He's going to have a lot more influence and be more offensive this year. I'm still putting Stafford up here, but it's scary, Jason. I have him 19, you have him 17, so that's 18, which is the same ranked as ESPN, and his ADP, dude, is 162. So he is going at the same rate as Carr is. I'd still rather have Carr, but I'd give me the offensive coach with Kupp.
Yeah, and if we're going for like second quarterbacks, I think I'd rather have Stafford over Carr, and that's just because. So like we've seen Stafford, he is a good quarterback. It was 2 years ago he took them to the Super Bowl, they won, and then last year was just crazy. It was a season full of injuries for Matthew Stafford and the whole team actually. Out of the 9 games he played, he only averaged 12 points per game, which is
wasn't good, dude. Even with Cooper Kupp dominating, and that's what scares you, is Cooper Kupp was dominating when he was playing, and it did not translate to Matthew Stafford scoring points.
Yeah, but like you said, Tyler, they have Sean McVay as a head coach. Cooper Kupp is out there juking fools. His career, he has 64 career completion percentage, or 63 career completion percentage, right? And 2 years ago, when I was talking about they went to the Super Bowl, his points per game in a half point PPR was 19.1 that year. And I'm like, dang, dude, is it really just like 1 year removed? Is there any chance that we could get back up there with his organization, with his head coach, with his wide receiver? There's a chance, right? He can blow up or he can be in dud. That's why I kind of have him down as 17th ranked. And the Rams O-line is actually 13th in pass block win rate. I believe he can still play, but he doesn't have the same weapons that he did 2 years ago.
Yeah, and Jason, the big red flag, I mean, it's on our list, dude. In red, 30th ranked offensive line for PFF going into next season. So I know that you just gave that win rate, but like, dude, right off the bat, when the Bills played them, you're like, holy crap, what is going on with this offensive line, dude?
Mm-hmm.
So it was bad, dude. Like, Matthew Stafford is not the type of quarterback that needs a lot of people coming at him. So it's not going to work out that way, and I think they're going to do everything they can to keep blockers in. Oh, shoot, Jason, let me write that real fast.
Oh, Stafford.
Staph infection.
What college did you go to? Stafford.
Yeah, he wishes. He was a dog, man. He went to Georgia before they got amazing. All right, man. So that was a tier break for me. And then actually, it's not really a tier break for Jason because he has Stafford ranked ahead this next guy, which is funny too. Dude, Jason, ESPN has this next dude ranked 10th. And he is going, what? Anyways, I've got some stuff here. I wish I had it. But anyways, Daniel Jones, man, he's got a terrible schedule.
They have him ranked 10th?
Dude, he's got him ranked 10th. And okay, but anyways, dude, he was fourth in the league. This is why people like him. He was fourth in the league with 120 quarterback rushes. And he's had 11. He's thrown for 11, 10, and 15 touchdowns over the last 3 years, dude. It's like, in his spikes, like we're talking about, like he had 4 games like outside of the top 20 quarterbacks, and he still finished top 10. Like his scoring does not translate to like fantasy success. He'll win you some weeks, dude, but he's gonna lose you that many weeks. Yeah, and that's like, and it's like, dude, all they added was Darren Waller. And like they didn't go get anybody big. And it's like, yeah, you have to trust Brian Daboll, and this guy is getting like the same rushing attempts as Allen in that offense. But who's the Diggs, dude? There's nobody. They don't even have like, oh my God, dude. It's just, there's nothing. And Saquon Barkley is now like, he better be playing. If he doesn't play, Daniel Jones better be like ranked 32nd.
Is he going to play?
I don't know. So Daniel Jones' offensive line rank, Jason, is 29th. They had one of the easiest schedules last season. It was like well known. Well, that flipped on its head now. They have one of the hardest schedules in the league, especially for offensive line, dude. I think that they're gonna regret giving Daniel Jones that money this year, and it's gonna rear its ugly head. So I really do not want any of Daniel Jones. I think his best year was last year.
Oh yeah.
But I love Brian Daboll. So would I be surprised if he repeated it? Kinda, but it is in the realm of possibilities. But still, dude, drafting him above like, dude, Jared Goff, Geno Smith, like all these people, dude, it is just insane. I would not do that. So I am out on Daniel Jones. How do you feel, Jason?
I'm out. I'm outie. I'm out. I'm out. What are you doing, Chris? I'm outie 5,000 or 3,000. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Daniel Jones. Yeah, yes, he was a waiver wonder last year. You know, he did great just picking him up off of waivers. But this year, like you said, he has a hard schedule. He plays against the Cowboys defense twice. He plays against the Eagles defense twice. He was in the bottom half of the league in touchdowns last year. He did not throw many passing touchdowns. I think it was only like 15. But he did rush for 7 touchdowns and 708 rushing yards. Okay, so since his rookie year in 2019, Tyler, rushing TDs the following years when the quarterback has a rush for 7 touchdowns or up, drop 90% of the time. So the statistics, the trend is showing that he's not even going to reach like 7 touchdowns again this year.
Was he going to make for it? Is he going to make for it? Is he going to make up for it by throwing it to, these fools, Darius Slayton and everybody? I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, they did draft, Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee, but you said the overall Giants had their offensive line was ranked 29th, but they're also ranked 29th in pass block win rate. So, and I do not see Daniel Jones doing much better than 15 passing touchdowns next year, this coming up year. So I got him low. I got him low. Probably might be even lower, to be honest.
Dude, I would have him so low if it wasn't for Brian Daboll and Saquon Barkley. Like that's literally the only reason.
And Barkley might not even play.
If it wasn't for Brian Daboll, I would not. If he had a defensive coach, oh my god, dude, I wouldn't even have him on. I'd have him under Mac. I think I even have Mac on this list.
Yeah.
All right. So, and that is the bottom of a tier for me because of his rushing ability. Like I just have to count it, dude. Like this guy runs the ball so much, and it is in the realm of possibility, even though I do not see it happening. And like I said, yeah, he gets huge spikes. But those valleys, dude, hurt you, man. You need a consistent quarterback. That's what equals fantasy success.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then, Jason, I know you don't have him ranked, but I do have Brock Purdy ranked 17th. And I do want to say this. He's got the, what is he? He's got an amazing offensive line, amazing offensive coordinator. We already know his 10th ranked offensive line. His Purdy's weekly finishes, week 13 through 18, 8, 14, 13, 9, and then number 5. But that was week 18 when not a lot of quarterbacks were playing. So, like, dude, he was like, he would have literally been a top 15 quarterback last season. So I felt like I needed to put him, I ranked him 17th. I still like some other people more, and, his health is kind of an issue. But, dude, like, he is better than what people think he is for fantasy. It's kind of crazy.
They are who we thought they were. I mean,
right?
Let me add this real quick, Tyler. Like, I will eventually, most likely, put Purdy on this list, bump a lot of people down. Well, at least these last 4. Once I know that his elbow is back. Right now, I don't even believe he has an elbow. And that it's like, who is it going to be? Trey Lance, Sam Darnold, Purdy? I don't know.
Elbow.
The people's elbow.
Everything I've heard is that everything's looking good for him, and he's on schedule to start training camp. So I'm optimistic about that. And dude, I mean, I'm just saying, like, he's going to be a value. I don't think that he's going to be like he cannot get you in the top 5, but he could be a top 10 quarterback this year. And then Jason, next up. Who did the biggest revamp of their offensive line this last year? Who was like the Chiefs and the Bengals last season? It was Sean Payton just gutting everything, refilling that offensive line. That's what he did with the Saints. And then I saw Russell Wilson. He's looking very svelte, Jason. I don't know if he just shaved his head or if he actually lost a lot of weight. Jason, I forgot about this, but he has led the league in touchdown passes before. He finished as quarterback 15 last season. As bad as that was, dude, like he was god awful last season, and he finished as 15. And now we saw what happened with Trevor Lawrence getting, having a terrible coach and then getting a real coach.
Yeah.
So I might be you have him ranked 13, Jason. I have him 16. I might be ranked too low on him. But it's like, again, I believe in Sean Payton, but it's like I just don't like Russell Wilson that much. I think he's kind of a douche. So it's like, I think it kind of plays in my rankings a little bit. I'm just like,
Yeah.
Russell Wilson, man. Like, oh my God, I'm so tired of this dude. But I think he could be a value. Like, all the Broncos are going to be a value this season because of what happened last season, and Wilson's going to be a prime example of that. You have to think he's going to do better than last season. He was QB 15, so QB 10 is I could see him finishing QB 10. Like, that's like a 50-50 coin flip for me.
It's crazy. We're at this time of the year where I'm starting to like feel as deja vu, because when we saw Russell Wilson go to the Broncos, we wanted everybody from the Broncos. We wanted everybody, and then they had this horrible season, and I was like, I don't want anybody from the Broncos ever again. And then they got Sean Payton, and then it's like, I want everybody from the Broncos. Give me everybody. And I'm part of that too. It's like I would have had Russell Wilson like maybe barely even on this list, but because Sean Payton is there, and we know what Sean Payton could do, he's gone up. And then Sean Payton went out and revamped that line, and because he knows, he talks to Tyler, he listens to Tyler. Offensive line is important in fantasy football, and
one of the best listens last year, Jason, was he came on the Herd every Monday, and he emphasized that so much, dude.
Yeah.
It's like between him and Chris Long on the Rich Eisen show, like, I'm just all about fantasy football, offensive lines, dude.
Yeah. All his touchdowns were like career lows last year, he only had 16. That's one more than Daniel Jones. And but he ended the season on a good note with 3 out of the 4 last games. He scored over 20 fantasy points. And then here we go. We got the new head coach, Sean Payton. New coach, new year, new anxiety, new stress. Last year, the Broncos were 9th in pass blocking, and he improved that line. Sean Payton upgraded that line, so it should be even better.
Yeah, so they're ranked number 9, dude. So, like, that's a big deal. Like, PFF saw what they did, put him into one of their top tiers, ranked number 9. Jason, he is going 2 rounds behind Daniel Jones. So it's like, I would much rather have him. And then by the end of the season, by the time the preseason rolls around, I'm probably going to have Wilson ahead of this next guy, Jason. And I do want to say Wilson, I had ranked 16th. You had him 13th. ESPN 16th. So we're aligning that pretty much. Now, next up is Dak, Jason. Jason is a Cowboys
I'm a
fan.
quarterback.
Sometimes I can't talk. Sometimes I don't talk good.
Hey, I'm with you on that, dude.
I have him ranked 15th, Jason. I'm pretty low on him. I think I'm going to bump him down to 16 and put Wilson up to 15, probably once I see some things shake out. And then, Jason, you have him ranked 12, and then ESPN has him 11, so I am lower on him. I do want to say that, like, people think about his interceptions last season. He had a 3.8% interception rate last year, but in the 4 years before that, he was under 2.0. So, like, that was just a kind of a freak season for him last season.
Yeah.
And then, Jason, as far as like not really running the ball so much, since the ankle injury, he's averaged 164 rushing yards per season. Cousins, since that ankle injury, he's averaged 106 rushing yards per season. So he's just doing a little bit better than Kirk Cousins. And Kirk Cousins he sucks, dude, about running the ball like that. So he's going 1 round ahead of Cousins. He's going 3 rounds before Wilson. He's going 2 rounds before Smith and Tua. And he's going 5 rounds before Goff. So, I mean, I do not like how he lost Kellen Moore, and they want to run the hell out of the ball now, go super conservative. They've got an amazing defense, so they're not going to be trying to catch up to anybody, Jason. It's just, there are a lot of signs that are pointing to me like, I do not want Dak. I think his ceiling just got taken out, pretty much. Kellen Moore leaving just lowered his ceiling so much. I still think he's going to be consistent. I still think CeeDee Lamb's going to be all right. But yeah, dude, I'm just so afraid of this offense with but the thing is, Jason, they also got Deuce Vaughn. So now he has 2 pass catching running backs that can literally take screens to the house. So he has that going for him. How do you feel about Dak Prescott? I know that you're higher on him than I am.
Well, I dug into this, right? Obviously, the stat that everyone's going to remember is that he had 15 interceptions in 12 games, which also led the NFL. And then they go ahead and lose Dalton Schultz in free agency. You said it, Tyler. They want to run the ball more, so I went and looked a little bit into it. I'm going to need you to pull out your calculator here because we're going to get deep into some algebra.
I,
So
that doesn't make that okay.
I'll do it for you. Don't worry about it. So they ran the ball around 45% last year of the time, but they said they want to run the ball more, right? So
They were ranked fifth in the league. I thought last I
yeah,
heard.
and they're already doing 45% of the time. So I'm just like, hey, let's just split it 50-50, right? 50% of the time, that's what I'm thinking that they're going to do in this upcoming year. So that's 5% more. In 2021, Dak played 16 games. In those 16, in that year, he had 596 attempts. So 5% of 596 is 29. So with that taken out, so he's going to be, they're saying that he will throw the ball 29 less times. You divide that by 17 because that's how many weeks are in a season, and it comes out to 1.7. So it's like they're actually, when they're talking about, oh, we're going to run the ball more. Oh, Dak is not going to throw the ball as much. He's going to throw it 1.7 less times a game. And to me, that's not big of a difference. That's 5% is not big of a difference to me. So the next thing is like, oh, Mike McCarthy's playing. He's the play caller this year, right? The last time he was the play caller, it was for the Packers, and it was from 2006 to 2014. And Aaron Rodgers, when he started for the Packers in 2008, his touchdowns go 28, 30, 28, 45, 39, 17. He only played 9 games that year, and 38. So I'm like, I kind of like those numbers too. Not that I'm really comparing
But
Dak
did you
Prescott
compare
to Aaron Rodgers.
did you compare like the rushing rate when he was the coach for the because like when he was a coach for the Packers, I think I remember looking and he was like I think they were like ranked like 25th, like 20th to 30th in the league every year in rushing the football. So like, in attempts. So like he thought winning for him was giving Aaron Rodgers the ball and throwing it a ton, whereas now it feels like they're taking the ball out of Dak's hands.
Right. He's taking it out of his hands at least 1.7 times a game. How
Yeah,
many touchdowns?
but I'm talking about when McCarthy last play called for the Packers, it was way less. It was way more than that. They threw the ball way more than they ran it.
Yeah, but so I'm also saying that like how many touchdowns did Dak Prescott actually throw last year? Wasn't it like 26?
Maybe.
Okay, I think it was like something like that. I could be wrong. So, are you saying like because of McCarthy play calling that they want to run the ball that he's going to throw it
No,
less
I was just wondering
touchdowns?
if you compare it because I do know that they're going to run the ball more, and they ranked fifth in the league last season. So now, but that is an outlier for him because back when it's hard to say like compare when he used to coach his offense when he coached for the Packers because they didn't run the ball at all, and they just let Aaron Rodgers do whatever. So it's like he's not doing that with Dak Prescott. It's going to be almost a completely different offense.
Well, the thing that has me actually like low down or a little bit lower with Dak Prescott is his decision making.
23 touchdowns.
23 touchdowns. Do you think he would be higher or lower on that?
Oh, he's going to be higher. He threw 37 touchdowns and 4,500 yards the year before that. Insane.
Yeah, he has the potential.
Like
I
Kellen Moore, dude. It's
I
so much
think
of
if he
Kellen
plays
Moore.
if he plays a full season, he could get you around like 30 touchdowns again with Mike McCarthy play calling.
And then Dak, I mean, they also have the number 6 ranked offensive line going next season. So like that's why I feel like his floor is still up because of the offensive line and everything, and CeeDee Lamb. But I just feel like his ceiling just kind of got taken away from him. All right, Jason, are you done with Prescott?
Let me see.
I know you had a lot on him.
Well, I mean that was basically it. The other thing that I had him kind of dropped is that he doesn't score rushing touchdowns anymore.
Yeah,
So
like I said, he quit running the ball. I think he was only averaging like 4 rushes, maybe like 3 point something rushes a game last year. No, 3 rushes a game last year, something like that.
well, we all saw the ankle.
Yeah, I know. And it's like, and they don't, and they're already paying too many people other places to just like keep him healthy. All right, Jason, next up, this is a guy that his ceiling is up there with like everybody else almost, but there's a lot of injury baked in, and the team is pretty erratic sometimes, anyways. He's got 2 number 1 wide receivers on his team, Jason. Tua Tagovailoa. I am much higher on him than you are. I have him at 10. You have him at 14. And then ESPN kind of splits the difference. They have him at 12. So Tua, let me see where is this, Jason? He's got 4 top 5 finishes, and it's one. He was quarterback 1, quarterback 2, quarterback 3, quarterback 4. So like that's what I'm saying. His ceiling is insane. Burrow had 6 of those top 5 finishes, and he played 4 more games than Tua. So it's like, dude, Tua literally has a ceiling of a Burrow. Like I can like it's very
Almost
similar.
sounds like a bird.
Dude. I know, right? But like if you look at Tua's numbers compared to Burrow, it is frighteningly familiar. So it's like, okay. And then anyways, the only thing that I could find bad about him, well, so he faces the Jets, the Cowboys, and the Ravens in the fantasy football championship. So that is terrible, dude. That's like probably the worst schedule I can think of.
That's not great.
No, but they did go against, they scored like 50 points against Baltimore last season. So it's like, I don't really know how much that means. Yeah. So anyways, Jason, what was it? 17 games, 4 games finishing outside the top 10. It doesn't really matter, dude. Oh, Tua only had 3 games finishing outside the top 20. And those two of those games, he had 13 and 8 attempts because he got concussed. So like, dude, his floor is crazy high and his ceiling is even higher. So like Tua is like I owned him last season, dude, and it sucked because I didn't know what I was going to get from week to week. But Jason, if he is healthy and everything's working okay, he could be a top 5 quarterback.
Dude, absolutely. Tua was crazy last year, and I can't remember. Tyler, did you draft him or did you pick him up off of waivers?
I had to pick him. It was either him or Geno off of waivers, and I think I got Tua and your sister got Geno or something like that.
Yeah. Dude, just imagine Tua if he played the whole season last year, because in 13 games, he had 25 touchdowns. He was on pace to get 30, 35, 40 when you have Waddle and Tyreek Hill on your team. He was first in deep ball percentage at 50%. And that's great. That's awesome when you have a Tyreek Hill on your team, right? The Dolphins O-line is I just got an email. It's blocking off my notes. Dolphins O-line is 24th in pass block win rate. And it's just, when he's in there, if he could play a whole season, this guy could be a top 7, top 5 quarterback for sure. But after what I saw last year and his injuries, like he got concussed twice. He also had like a crazy back problem, right? There was a highlight where he couldn't even like really walk off the field, right? He wasn't upright. I don't know. It was great against the Bills, I want to say.
Yeah.
But it's that O-line and his injuries. And that's what really has me concerned, is that he's injury
yeah, because one concussion, he could be forced out the whole year, dude. So that's like the scary thing for him in particular. But is Teron Armstead is the left tackle there, and if he goes down, dude, I made it a little short about this. It's like, dude, everything goes bad. So their offensive line is ranked 22, and it'd probably be ranked 32 if it wasn't for Armstead. So they really need Armstead to stay healthy this season, and that's what it's going to take for all this to happen, his ceiling to happen. And then Jason going up. And I do want to say that Tua is going like 2 rounds after Prescott. He's going like around Daniel Jones territory. And if you tell me I'm going to get Tua or Daniel Jones, oh my God, dude, that's not even a freaking question. Like, that is
yeah.
Like, and that's literally where ESPN has him. And that makes 0 sense.
That's so bizarre to me.
Dude, and we're going to talk about, look at this next guy, Jason. You're even higher on him than I am. Geno Smith. I would have him higher, but they lost that Blythe. And now they have like the backup center or some guard for the Lions is coming over. And he's just like an average dude when I was looking at him on PFF and stuff like that. But man, if it wasn't for, they had 2 rookie tackles and they had the veteran center that really pulled everything together. And he was like, I was reading articles where during last season, Pete Carroll's like, man, this guy's amazing. He's pulling everybody together. We're great because of this guy. And then they lost him. He just retired. But Geno, dude, I have him 13. Jason, you have him 10. ESPN has him 15. And I think the big thing here, dude, is where the hell did I have that? Oh, right here. He finished as number 5 quarterback last year, Jason. And then he got Jackson Smith and Jigba, right? It's like the best number 1 quarterback, or wide receiver in the draft. And he's still ranked behind Jones, Cousins, and Prescott. So it's like, what are we missing here, dude? There's 2 like criminally underrated people here, and one of them, Jason, is Geno.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to pass up Geno after what we saw last year. That was another thing last year because Russell Wilson left. We were like, I don't want any Seattle Seahawks. Get him away from me. They're COVID. And then Geno Smith came along and was like, hey, I'm going to ball out and make everyone fantasy irrelevant on this team. And then they go ahead and add more firepower with their top first 2 rounds. They got a top wide receiver and they got a top running back.
I'm going to ball out and make everybody fantasy irrelevant on this team.
Relevant.
There you go.
Did I say irrelevant? Fantasy relevant.
That's how I was cracking up.
Oh man.
Well, I'm gonna ball out. I'm gonna rush every damn touchdown. You guys will get anything.
That would be good.
Richardson.
That would be good.
Yeah, that's funny.
He had a career year last year, man, and I feel like he's in position to do even better with the players he has around him.
I do not think that it's kind of hard. I think he's going to finish worse than what he did this season. I do not think he's going to be a top 5 quarterback at the end of the year. But do I think that he can be a top 10 quarterback? Absolutely. Like, I think that is definitely in his range of outcomes. Then what was I looking at, Jason? Oh yeah, Geno Smith. So I talked about their offensive line, about all that crap. All right, Jason, next up is my guy. He's my quarterback that I do not like.
Okay.
Dude, Kirk Cousins. I would just listen to Marshall Faulk just like bury Kirk Cousins. Nobody's ever been luckier than Kirk Cousins, man. Getting drafted when he did, with the coaches that he's played for, and then just all the situations. I think he's won 1 playoff game and he's made like so much money. It's ridiculous. But anyways, I have him 14. You have him number 9. And I understand that, he's got Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, who I love. But their offensive line ranked is 12, so it's not terrible. But I watched like every single Vikings game last year, dude. And I said, dude, Dalvin Cook to me was very dangerous. He was 1 long run a game or 1 long screen a game from being absolutely terrible for fantasy. And then I felt like Cousins was the same way. Like, I felt like he was doing terrible until the 4th quarter, and then he would get all this garbage time, and then they would come back and win the game. They won 11 one-score games last season. That was never happened before. They were 11-0 in those situations. So I just felt like the offense for the Vikings was very fluky last year as far as the production for it. And I see it stepping down this year. And yeah, I'd rather have Geno Smith. I'd rather have Tua. I'd rather have, Deshaun Watson. There's other people I'd rather have. So Jason, I know that he's been a favorite. Cousins has been a waiver wire darling. You can get by.
Yeah.
He's a late round quarterback. Even last year, dude, he can get you by. He was I think he finished around number 10 or something like that. So even in a bad quarterback year, he's always going to be around the top 10, but he's just not going to win you much, dude. His ceiling isn't that great. His floor is pretty low. And I just felt like last year was kind of fluky.
I feel like he is a Derek Carr 2.0. He takes you on a emotional roller coaster, but he scores more points than David Carr.
Yeah.
I'm just, going into this year, you got Justin Jefferson. He's probably going to be the roundabout first overall pick in fantasy football drafts. You got TJ Hawkinson. That's a big body tight end. We saw that all the targets that he was getting last year. They still have KJ Osborne running in the slot. And then they went out and got my homie from USC, Jordan Addison. Yeah, Jordan Addison. So the firepower is still there, and he likes to throw the ball in the end zone, in the red zone. Tyler, yeah,
this quarterback likes to throw the ball in the end zone.
It's crazy. Why would he throw the ball in the end zone? That doesn't make sense.
That's my number 1 trait when I'm looking for a quarterback.
Hey, if he doesn't throw the ball in the end zone, that is true. If he doesn't throw the ball in the end zone, he should not be up here.
Correct.
But in the red zone, Tyler, in the top 20 players last year, 3 of them had the most targets, and they were on the Vikings. Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and TJ Hawkinson. Those 3 players were in the top 20 for red zone targets last year. So he loves to throw the ball down there.
That makes me want Addison so much even more. I mean, I'm all about Addison. If you guys are looking for late round wide receivers, Addison's my number 1. And Rashee Rice was there somewhere too. But yeah, dude,
Yeah.
that's not bad, Jason. I understand where you're coming from. I think it's just me watching the games and just valuing other quarterbacks higher. That's all.
No, yeah, and I totally get that. I mean, because there's last year I was low on him because I was like, he's not going to be that great because he normally doesn't clutch up. It's on video when I said that. And then he
Mm.
goes out and has a pretty damn good year because he actually clutched up at the end of games. It's like, so what are we going to get this year? But the stats show when he's in the red zone, he likes to throw the ball. They like
Oh,
to throw the ball and to spread it to all wide receivers. And Jordan Addison, Tyler, you were talking about like those deep plays, like those lucky, like Dalvin Cook plays. Jordan Addison is probably going to have some 50-yard touchdowns this year with his speed.
yeah. And then also, I do want to say, I think he's been hit more than any other quarterback over the last like 4 or 5 years. I saw that trending from that Netflix quarterback documentary thing.
Oh, did you watch that?
No, I want to though.
Yeah, I think I'm eventually going to watch it. But one last thing before we go to the new one. This is also a contract year for Kirk Cousins. So, you know, he wants to ball out and make everything and everybody fantasy relevant.
Yeah, well, if you had, I wanted them to draft his replacement this year. I wanted to Hendon Hooker, so they didn't really address much. I think they might have got Duggar. I can't remember who they got, but I got upset and I quit paying attention because I wanted Hendon Hooker so damn bad. I thought it was made in heaven, man. All right, Jason, this is a big different one for us as well. I am so Deshaun Watson, right? I am number 8. I have him number 8. Jason has him number 15. So that's a big difference. He is the end. He's in an upper tier for me. Like I think he's like in tier 2 for me. He has the number 2 offensive line, Jason, and he's got freaking Chubb back there. Then they got Tillman, who he's the wide receiver I really liked from Tennessee, and then they got Elijah Moore, who I think is amazing. And they also have I also think Elijah Moore fits Deshaun Watson's play style. And like I said, Amari Cooper is still there. Donovan Peoples-Jones, man, was like my freaking best friend last year. And then he didn't know it, but still.
He didn't know. He didn't accept my friend request, but
yeah, and I was watching JJ Zachariason, and he was talking about Deshaun Watson, how he's ranking him over Trevor Lawrence because people think that Trevor Lawrence is a rushing quarterback. And how you really need a rushing quarterback to really get into the highest tier. You need a rushing quarterback. So that, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson runs the ball like 6 to 8 times a game, Jason. And he has all those weapons. I love Kevin Stefanski. I mean, he was the Vikings offensive coordinator. So he's got an offensive coach. He's got a top offensive line. He's got weapons everywhere. He did so bad last year. That's why he's being undervalued, even though ESPN still has him at 9. Which is surprising. I don't understand why they have all these other people, but they've got him ranked high. So anyways, Jason, that's just my little thing on him. I just think that he rushes more than you think. People are down on him, so you're going to get a value. His weapons, offensive line, and offensive head coach.
Yeah.
Like all that just makes – I think his floor is very – his minimize for a bust is very, like, I don't know. If he didn't have such a bad year last year, dude, I think that he'd be ranked so high. I don't know.
That's
it. How do you feel about it's just hard to look at his stats from last year, Jason, and rank this dude so high.
Right. I know. I have him ranked 15. He's not even 30 years old yet. Last year, it was his worst points per game average in his whole career with 14.3. Like, there was just something about last year. It was not good for him. Because his other seasons, 2017 through 2020, he had none of those seasons he had under 20 points. It was crazy. So I think the reason why Deshaun Watson is like in everybody's discussion is just because they're basing his playing ability from like previous years, right? And everyone's hoping that he could get back to that form in like 2020 where his completion percentage was 70, right? He does, like, throughout his whole career, he does average like 27 touchdowns a year, and he has a total of 18 combined touchdowns in his career too. The Browns are 3rd in pass block win rate, and like you said, Tyler, they set him up with good wide receivers. They have one of the top running games. It's all set up for Watson to be like a late round. like a later round, but push you up there into championship mode if everyone is right and he gets back to his like MVP form where he was just like going crazy out there on the field.
Dude, like this offense is set up. You saw Brisket last year, man. Like he was putting up points, dude. And now they get a top tier quarterback. And yeah, like you and I both don't like probably Watson for certain reasons.
Yes.
And I think that he was hurt. I think that it was just like it was really causing him a lot of. I don't think his mind was much on football last year. Let's just put it that way.
Well, I mean that's we're living on a hope. We're living on a hope. It was a year and a half that he missed football. That time that he missed in football when he came back and he played those last 6 games. We're hoping this time that he has training camp, preseason, he could get in his final form.
His ultimate form. All right.
Ultimate
Jason,
form.
He is like the end of a tier that I am aiming for. I mean, not the end of a tier. I think I might have Lawrence ranked one behind him because I'm just kind of crazy right now because of Lawrence's offensive line. And it's just so hard for me to pass up the number 2 offensive line, dude. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
And I know it's true because I've known this for a while. Anyways, that is the show. I think we just went over 11 quarterbacks because we included Purdy. Let us know what you think because there are some names. There's some people on here like some Lions quarterbacks that have not been mentioned, and you can get him like in the 14th round, 12th round, or something like that. So there are still some huge values on here. So come back, check it out. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, we don't get paid for this, but like you pay us in happiness, man. Like every thumbs up we get or nice comment, it makes us feel so good. It's insane. So anyways, Jason, we'll be back on Friday. No, we'll be back on Saturday with the top 10. Catch you on the flip side.
Deuces.